Thank you for joining us here at Prosperitrade on another video. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for the thousands of views on our MP video. We're a brand new channel and we're continuing to grow. You can check out our comments. We've had some big YouTube influencers, people that are big in the stock world, commenting and giving us positive feedback. So we hope to continue giving quality feedback. With that, today we want to take a deep dive on ticker symbol PLTR, Palantir. I know you've heard this stock by now. It's been on every news channel. It's been discussed by ARK investment team. It's been discussed on a lot of YouTube channels. So the reason I'm discussing it today, because I've been invested in it for a while, and that's kind of what I've been doing. I've talked about ticker symbol EXAS, Senseonics, MP. So I just want to finish the stocks that I've been invested in for a while before I go into new stocks. So my goal with this video today is to just break down in simple layman terms what this company does. I'll kind of give you the explanation of what they claim to do or what they state that they do, and how practical is it to the private sector. And that's, kind of one of my concerns. So I do have some concerns. I know everybody's extremely bullish, but there are some analysts that claim that this stock is overvalued. So we're going to discuss all of that. Before we start, please take a look at our disclaimer. We're not investment advisors. We present information, and it's for educational purposes. And we recommend that everybody do their due diligence and before they buy any stocks. Just another disclaimer, like I mentioned before, I am invested in this stock. So what is Palantir Technology? What is it that they claim to do? And this is on their own website, what they state, that they were founded in 2003. They started creating software for the United States. The company was founded for the United States to assist in counterterrorism and different operations. They were founded by Peter Thiel, and they've expanded outside of just government into state government, international government. They've worked with police. They've worked with local hospitals. They've been in private sectors now. They build software platforms for large institutions whose work is essential to everyone, to our way of life. Those institutions must be able to function in times of stability as well as crisis and uncertainty. To accommodate this, Palantir created Foundry, Gotham, and Apollo, which they call the brain. So their two first main platforms that they've created since they were established is Gotham and Foundry. Those are the two platforms that they've had. So they state that they make products for human-driven analysis of real-world data without having to input different languages, different modeling, different command lines. They basically have their engineers, they set up based on all the information, and once everything is set up and laid out, the machine basically functions by itself. It takes data, it gives you information, it allows you to just do much easier research. It puts together information that that's going to help you function more effectively in whatever the business is. So that's kind of like in a nutshell. We're going to break down a little bit more. But why is this important? Because of data, which they're claiming to be the new oil. If you look at this chart here from 2011 to 2020, how important data has been. And basically, just imagine, you have a Facebook page and you take all your emails, everything that you posted that was liked, everything that had thumbs down, anything that got the most views, the most traffic, just all the information connected and putting it together, it'll give you an advantage on what you post next. Like if you have so much data and they break down, look, statistically, if you post this, you're going to get this many likes because of past information. And they may point out things that you didn't even anticipate. And I'll show you some examples of how they use that with some of their government projects. So another thing with commercials, how important it is to gather information and people clicking on certain things and certain age groups, kind of what Google does in just analytical research. I think they're claiming to be able to take it to like just another level. So Palantir has created a platform that takes real world data, including research, emails, spreadsheet, intelligence, and formats it into a single language. So Gotham is primarily serves government. Gotham has also been used during hurricanes to help with logistics and distributing resources. It's helped with tracing the spread of COVID-19 and accelerating production of critical medical supplies and partnering with hospitals to help maximize capacity, also help route crucial medical supplies, and collaborate with other public health sectors. So that's kind of like what they're claiming their niche is, like they basically are going to master logistics. They're going to find, anticipate problems. They're going to get all this information, and it's just going to help everything flow more efficiently. So, one of the things they say that Palantir was rumored to help locate bin Laden. So on their website, there's a couple of videos. I'm just going to kind of skim through them. And this is how they responded to COVID and how they worked with other hospitals.
On the ground. Palantir Foundry can enable this in less than a week from the time we receive data access, bringing together an organization's many disparate and often siloed data sources into one platform alongside select open source data. As a senior official responsible for managing the COVID-19 response, I can open my crisis overview and immediately gain an understanding of high-level infection metrics, as well as how these have developed over time. Scrolling down, I can view this information geospatially, using not just cases data, but combining this with hospital data on bed counts, allowing me to understand how well the infrastructure in those regions can cope with the load. I can also drill down on a per region or even per hospital basis and potentially begin an investigation to identify any sources of strain, such as low inventory of essential items. To further investigate, I can switch to the hospital capacity view. Here, I can view the metrics on total hospitalized cases relative to bed counts. I can also see what percentage of the workforce are becoming infected, as well as what proportion are high risk. Scrolling down, I can begin to look at the physical resources too, such as countrywide inventory of critical medical supplies. Clicking on face masks, I can view how the inventory level has developed over time and take proactive action in light of any scarcities I foresee, like relocating inventory between hospitals. From prime ministers to healthcare workers, Palantir Foundry provides a secure...
So this is pretty much one of their programs. This is the Gotham, and kind of like what they're stating how they can use it in disasters and all that. So let's look at another quick video of how they use Gotham in the military setting. So that to me, like if you look at this part, blind spots of north side of the compound. So I mean, this is like what I was talking about. So this is like information that they're going to give you that you didn't even know how useful it could be. You know, just knowing some of the blind spots, uh, being able to just come here and send a drone to analyze whatever the mission is. So an issue arose, and it has the computer puts the information together, and it kind of comes up with a secondary plan. So it's just really intuitive. So that's just kind of like an inside of Gotham. So Foundry, I found this here, and Foundry is basically how its expansion and going to the private sector. Now, to me, this is what's going to get it the big money. So I'll talk about why just depending on government projects has its risks. You know, they've been operating since 2003, and they still haven't been profitable. So obviously, they need the private sector. But some of the things they do here, if you look, they connect data to cure diseases, and you saw with the hospital just being able to find trends and see what works, see what's not working, being able to just put all that information from different regions, different countries, all into one software. They are used by Airbus, and they've been able to improve efficiency, efficient on logistics, on their travel, on their times, on delivery of safe and high quality aircraft. So they've had Foundry about a part of that. Reengineering broadcast media, and again, just gathering information and trying to take advantage. You know, basically saving money for advertisement. You know, because they're going to advertise with data-driven type of organization. You know, so they can be specific on who they want to target. And logistics-wise, just drive quality. They're claiming that for big companies and logistics that they can save money by consolidating all the information into one language, making it easier for everybody to understand and kind of like anticipate problems. That's another thing that they, you know, being able to anticipate problems. Also avoiding fraud by taking payments. They've helped out the government, you know, with COVID pay or people with PPP loans and stuff, just trying to break down fraud with that. People trying to open up a second LLC and you know, get more money that they're not supposed to get. They've cut down that. So that's kind of how, you know, Foundry is going to go into the private sector, and that's where the money's at, the private sector, really. So again, this is kind of like they're basically saying that their software and their software can be a part of all of this: supply chains and logistics, telecom, infrastructure, utilities, retail, supply chains, pretty much anywhere where data is needed. They're claiming that they can be a part of that and do it better than anything that's out there right now. So Apollo basically is the software that performs as their SaaS platforms, where they take the statistical analysis and that's kind of like the AI, you know, the brain. So the SaaS is Foundry and Gotham in the public cloud and beyond. Apollo works around the clock to put our latest features in the hands of customers. It eliminates the trade-off between stability and speed by delivering continuous automated updates without disrupting operations. So they have a chart here. Basically, when they had Gotham in the past, they would write the code, they would manually install it, manually upgrade, manually configure. They would have to do all this. And maybe this is why, you know, they couldn't make it to the private sector. This is before Apollo, they had to do all this manually, get their engineers out there, and that can be very costly. So they're saying in the past 2 years, every new commercial customer has opted for our SaaS platform. So with SaaS, everything's pretty much automated. So now it's continuous deliveries, automated upgrades, automatic configuration, monitor from a single pane of glass, and it basically functions their Foundry system and updates it. They're claiming that I think they get 41,000 updates managed automatically by Apollo per week at no additional cost to our customers under one centralized operation team. So that's basically, in a nutshell, what Palantir states they can do. With the government, we know that they can, you saw the example of anything that the drones pick up, any data that they get, any intelligence that they get from informants or from just intelligence community, and they gather information, they're able to just gather all the information, put it under one single language, and plan accordingly. And the software will do its planning. It'll have anything you want to look up, any ideas, any potential risks. It'll anticipate problems. And how does that translate for the private sector? The same thing. Anything that's going to save big companies money. Anything that's like I look at, for example, companies, they hire like a CRM, where they gather, they have their marketers and they market to people, and they store information about who they spoke to, what that person's interested, if that person's a potential client. So they, I'm sure like they want to compete with CRM. They want to compete with ads. They want to compete with Google and all these companies. They want to do what all those things do under one platform. So, that's why it excites people, because of the potential that it has. So my risks that I've come across since kind of been researching the stock, one, is it currently overvalued? So I specified currently, because if you look at the price to sales ratio, it's over 30x at a market cap nearly 50 billion. So it may be currently overvalued based off the price to sales ratio. They need more contracts, they need more sales. They just, depending on the government, and 125 customers, and they haven't been profitable at that. So the next thing, I worry about is just the government contracts. So, you have to worry about government austerity risks. What about when the government, what about when the government starts implementing cuts and budget cuts? Those are things that you have to worry about. Is that going to affect their bottom line? So I saw that they addressed this, where they mentioned that, they don't just depend on the United States, that they have their programs can be found in UK, France, Germany. But, when you look at their financials, a big bulk of the revenue that they've gotten is from the military, from the U.S. military. So, and you see that they've had a Q4, they had 40% year-over-year growth, yet still no profit. So that's another thing. Is the insider selling a risk? There's been a ton of insider selling. Yeah, I don't think it's a terrible sign. They got into direct offering where they had to wait till a certain time where any of those investors can sell, and that time is now. But it does kind of, cause the stock to drop. The stock has dropped so much. Another thing, our investment is heavily invested in it, and there's a lot of institutional investors. So that's a positive, but that can also be a negative. What if they want to clear up and space to buy other things, and these large institutions start selling because it dipped a lot. It's been as high as 40 and now it's in the low 20. So the last part is my biggest concern out of every single thing I mentioned. The other things, like I said, it can be currently overvalued, but if they anticipate their 30% growth over the next 5 years, it doesn't really matter. But the last point, and this is a point that I'm not going to be able to answer today, but I have contacted a person from investor relation there, and I'm kind of waiting to get these questions out. I want to know, how are they going to translate what they do to maybe smaller businesses or common people, where that's the bulk of the money is. You think about Microsoft, every single person in the world has Windows pretty much. A lot of people have Windows. It's a moat. Will they be able to do that? So based off their marketing, the way they obtain business, they go through a 3-step process. They call it acquire, expand, and scale. So during the acquire phase, they set their engineers, they go to whatever the big business is, the big company, and they set their pilot at no cost. They make no money. They spend money, but they make no money. Then they expand. They go through the expand, and if the pilot's a success, they talk about contracting and growth account and customer being kind of independent. That's what they advertise. So they advertise that all the information, everything is private, it stays independent with the customer, but they still they're still being kind of like criticized. There's been protest about their involvement with the police and gathering too much information and certain concerns, but I think they're doing a good job to make sure that all the information, they don't buy or sell. They don't sell any information like like Facebook or any other companies. They keep everything localized and compartmentalized within the company that's contracted them. So yeah, that would be my biggest concern. How are they going to make this available for everyone? Where we can download this on our computer and benefit from Palantir. That would be the most exciting. Right now, we're going to take a quick look at their numbers. Okay, so we look at their revenue, and this is in the last 3 years. They've gone from 595 billion to 742 million to $1 billion, which is great. And if they anticipate that it's going to continue to grow and grow and grow, that's going to be good. So, of course, their cost of revenue has also gone up. One of the things, also research and development has gone up. Let's see. So they do have a lot of cash on hand. I think I last saw it was over $2 billion. They keep their debt pretty low. So that's something that's positive. So I think they're managed well. I think they're on the right track. They've said it themselves that with the implementation of Apollo, that now more businesses have been interested. Now they've been able to kind of break into the private sector, something that they haven't been able to do before. And a couple more things I want to show you before I wrap this up. Just kind of like how you have a lot of people that are believers in Palantir, but there's also a lot of people that it's really like 50-50. It just seems like everywhere you check, there's some people that are extremely bullish in it. Like you'll read an article like this: Palantir is down 42% from its all-time high, continue to acquire new customers for long-term partnership. The most recent was announced. So they're extremely bullish, and this is from the Motley Fool. And then you go to tip ranks. You have some people, just one person as high as 40, but there's some people that are giving it a value of 15, and they're saying it's a sell. You have an article here on Morningstar where they say positive things. They even talk about a narrow economic moat. So based off, I guess, of Apollo and their SaaS, especially with their SaaS software. And then you turn around and you have an article on Seeking Alpha stating that how overvalued the stock is. So it's I don't know. It's it's I say, like, I would like to finish talking to that investor relation person, and if I can see that there's a plan to try to infiltrate smaller businesses, mid cap businesses, right now, yeah. So they have gone for business that are contracts for $1 million, 5 million, over 10 million. But what about all the little guys? Are they going to be able to one day provide something for them? That would be kind of like the best thing, and that as far as becoming a moat. They did have a lawsuit which was dismissed, was withdrawn, and it's basically Open Democracy stated that the contract wasn't transparent enough, and so they dismissed, they withdrew it. It's nothing major. In another news, they've invested in Lilium, and this is it's not uncommon for companies to invest in other companies and buy stocks and all that in other companies. So we'll see how they do. I know the other company, I think it's ACIC, another similar kind of business of air taxis and all this. Their stock has not been doing well at all. So we're going to have to just kind of wait and see. This company seems like Lilium's has some positive ideas to kind of get that air taxi stuff off the ground. I seen one of their presentations. So see here again, this is on same Seeking Alpha. One person wrote an article about how it's overvalued. And this Steven here, he wrote that Amazon AWS partnership is a game changer in ARK investment and inquiring. So they're talking about Palantir partnership with Amazon and also IBM and Amazon. So them partnering up with big companies, it's a great sign. So this is number one bullish pick, and I agree. I mean, there's reason to be bullish. I just want to see them get to that. I want to see them get to that moat status where they make a software where everybody can buy, small companies. But right now, they need, to implement this software, they need engineers. They go to these companies. They set up a pilot. They take a week or whatever and gather. Setting up everything. That's, how many customers can you get? You have to talk about big companies that got big money. That they're not in competition with, so obviously they can't. More than likely, I don't see them, partnering up with Google, right? Google has similar technology. Snowflake, they're in competition with Snowflake, I guess. So, it's going to be interesting to see what they do over the next 5 years. I would say they're at a good price right now. If they drop below 20, it's not going to be good. Because that's where some support is, but right now they're still at a good price. I think it's still if you're willing to hold it for the next 5 years. So it has to be an amount that you're comfortable with to hold for the next 5 years. Then I think it's a great investment. So yeah, if we're looking at a technical point, and if you're bullish on the stock and you believe that in 5 years the stock is going to be worth a lot, you don't really care about the technical analysis. And I understand that. If you're more of a short-term investor and you just want to make money within the next year, then you should care of the technical analysis. I'm bullish on this for the long term. I don't have a crazy amount that I would, be upset if I lost it all. But I have a good amount that if it gets to that $200 or $300 or $400 that I've seen some people predict that it will be at, then I'm going to be extremely happy. But, kind of 20, 25, $20 is a support. You know, $20 is a natural support because people look at, you know, round numbers, the 20, the 30, 35 as just kind of like a natural support. But there's been some bounces, 2018 here before, where it kind of bounced and it spiked up. It's below all the moving averages, so that's, you know, it can be, you know, it's on a bullish trend right now, just kind of been on a downtrend below the moving averages. The RSI is a little bit low, so we'll see if there's going to be any reversal. There is some upcoming catalysts that we hope for. So that's it. You know, my final thing, I will have a part 2. I'm sorry for going so long. I was trying to consolidate as much as possible. If you stayed on this long, you know, thank you very much. You appreciate it. You know, this was a lot of research, and we do anticipate having a part 2 where we get those questions asked. You know, there are some questions that I do want to ask their team, and that's it. So thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please hit the like button, and also stay tuned for further videos. Hit the notification so you can stay updated with the most recent videos. Thank you for your support.